Hello everybody and welcome. For those who are new to the channel and see this video, I want to explain why you're seeing a screen of an anchor. Christ is our anchor. And I want the focus of the videos to be on Christ, not on myself. So I used to do the videos where you'd see me, but you're not going to see me anymore in the videos. So let's begin. We are in Acts chapter 25, okay? Now when Festus had come to the province, Festus is one of the commander type people of that area. After 3 days, he went up from Caesarea to Jerusalem. Then the high priest and the chief men of the Jews, that would be the head honchos of the Jews, like chief men be like authority figures, informed him against Paul. So they informed him about who Paul was, and they petitioned him, asking a favor against him, or of him, in other words, that he would summon him, meaning Paul, to Jerusalem. And the reason for this is what is listed in the next part of verse 3, where it says, while they lay in ambush along the road to kill him. Okay, so that was the purpose of why they wanted Festus to summon. And Festus, by the way, was the new ruler that took over from Felix before that. Okay, but Festus answered that Paul should be kept at Caesarea. So God's speaking on Paul's behalf through the actions of Festus, even though Festus is an ungodly person, okay, as far as we know. But Festus, so that he should be kept in Caesarea, and that he himself was going there shortly, that Festus was going to go to Caesarea shortly. Therefore he said, let those who have authority among you go down with me and accuse this man, to see if there is any fault in him, to see if there's any wrong or evil or sin in him. And when he had remained among them more than 10 days, okay, he went down to Caesarea. So let's look at the thing and find out where Caesarea is. Caesarea map. Okay, so Caesarea, let's try and get a more detailed map here. Okay, and that one's not gonna do it very well. Okay, so let's look at this one. So here is the so I'll back away. So you have Jerusalem, right? You have Judea, which is the whole area. You have Lydia, you have Samaria, you have Galilee, where Jesus is from. You have Caesarea, over by the Mediterranean Sea, over near, and Joppa's just down below it. So that's the area where he's going to. That's the area where we're talking about, okay? So, he stayed with them for more than 10 days. And he went down to Caesarea. And the next day, sitting on the judgment seat, on the throne. Well, judgment seat would not necessarily be like throne, but it would be like where the, like, kind of like a courthouse where the judges sit. So it's a judging seat kind of thing, authority seat, if you will. He commanded that Paul to be brought. So bring forth Paul, basically. When he had come, meaning Paul had come, the Jews who had come down from Jerusalem stood about and laid many serious complaints against Paul, which they could not prove. It was just making empty claims, the same thing that my kid's mother does all the time with me. When she goes to court, she makes plenty of claims, but none of those claims are proven. So while he answered for himself, neither against the law of the Jews. So he did not argue against the law of the Jews, because that was from God, right? Nor did he argue against the temple, nor against Caesar. He didn't say anything against Caesar. Have I offended in anything at all? So basically he's saying, I have not broken any of the laws of the Jews. I have not said anything against the temple. And even though it's been said of me, I have not said anything against Caesar. But Festus, wanting to do the Jews a favor, right, answered Paul and said, are you willing to go up to Jerusalem and there be judged before me concerning these things? So Paul said, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat. So he's showing authority to Caesar. He showed, just as people in the Old Testament did, just as God commanded many people to respect people in authority while they have authority. So respect them. And the only time you should stand against what they order is when it's in opposition to what God says. Okay? And in this case, what Festus is saying is not in opposition to God. Okay? So that means that Paul is ordered by God to obey those in authority. Okay? And he says, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat, where I ought to be judged. It's right for me to be judged. To the Jews, I have done no wrong, as you very well know. For I am an offender. For if I am an offender. So if I am guilty, or have committed anything deserving of death, I do not object to dying. I'm not afraid of it, and I will not fight against it. You can kill me if I'm guilty. But if there is nothing in these things of which these men accuse me, no one can deliver me to them. I appeal to Caesar. Now that's basically an official appeal. He's basically saying, I put myself in the hands of Caesar's authoritative figures to be judged rightly. Then Festus, when he had conferred with the council, that would be stepped aside and talked with the council of people, answered, you have appealed to Caesar. To Caesar you shall go. Okay, so an appeal would be like, I appeal to a higher judge. I appeal to someone in higher authority. Okay, and after some days, King Agrippa and Bernice came to Caesarea to greet Festus. Okay, and I'm guessing Bernice is King Agrippa's wife. I'm guessing. I'm not sure. When they had been there many days, Festus laid Paul's case before the king. So laid Paul's case means brought forth Paul's case. So in the courtrooms, you would hear the judge say, I now call case number blah, 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 blah. That is what this is saying. Okay. And he brought Paul's case before the king, King Agrippa, saying, there is a certain man left a prisoner by Felix, about whom the chief priests and elders of the Jews informed me when I was in Jerusalem, asking for a judgment against him. To them I answered, it is not the custom of the Romans to deliver any man to destruction, that means death, before the accused meets the accusers face to face and has opportunity to answer for himself concerning the charge against him. Okay? To be able to defend himself, basically. Therefore, when they had come together without any delay, the next day I sat on the judgment seat and commanded the man to be brought in. Now he's referring to events that happened prior. When the accusers stood up, they brought no accusation against him of such things as I supposed, as I guessed, basically, but had some questions against him about their own religion and about a certain Jesus, who had died, whom Paul affirmed to be alive. And because I was uncertain of such questions, I asked whether he was willing to go to Jerusalem to be judged concerning the matters. But when Paul appealed to be reserved for the decision of Augustus, I commanded him to be kept till I could send him to Caesar. Then Agrippa said to Festus, I also would like to hear the man myself. Tomorrow, he said, you shall hear him. So the next day, when Agrippa and Bernice had come with great pomp, I'm assuming pomp would probably, but we might have to look up that word. So let's look up some words here real quick, okay? So the word pomp is not referring to, so the word pomp is a procession disguised by very much grandeur and splendor. So a very fancy, so kind of like a parade, a show of magnificence. So a pomp would be kind of like a parade of sorts or something along that lines. Okay, so that's what a pomp is. Now, just to be sure, I want to look up who this Bernice person in the Bible is. Okay, by the way, the name Bernice means one that brings victory. Bible figure, I guess it would be. Bernice, Bible figure. Bernice, yeah, so Bernice is the daughter of Herod Agrippa. So actually Bernice is not the wife of King Agrippa. Bernice is the daughter of Herod Agrippa, King Agrippa. Okay, so now we've been able to establish a couple different things. So let's go back to the reading, okay? So, and coming with great pomp, with a great parade, and had entered the auditorium with the commanders and the prominent, that's the important men of the city. At Festus's command, Paul was brought in. And Festus said, King Agrippa, and all the men who are here present with us, you see this man about whom the whole assembly of Jews petitioned me, or asked me basically, both at Jerusalem and here, crying out that he was not fit to live any longer, that he should be killed. But when I found that he had committed nothing deserving of death, and that he himself had appealed to Augustus, I decided to send him. I have nothing certain to write to my Lord concerning him. Therefore, I have brought him out before you, and especially before you, King Agrippa, so that after the examination had taken place, I may have something to write. For it seems to me unreasonable to send a prisoner and not specify the charges against him. So they're basically focusing on what's fair, that this stuff is not fair. It's not right to be trying to try someone when they haven't done anything. You know, kind of like it's wrong to persecute the innocent kind of thing, okay? Even the authoritative figures understand that. So we just finished with chapter 25. So let me kind of connect this to your life, okay? There are going to come times in your life where people are going to put complaints and false accusations and words against you and say all manner of evil against you. And although it may seem that in your situation and in your life, it may seem as though those people would win in the world, you have to trust that God ultimately sees everything and will handle everything fairly in his due time. And sometimes that may not happen on this planet. Sometimes it may seem that on this planet the bad win and the good suffer. But remember, life is only half of the journey. The other half of the journey, or actually, to be more specific, life is only a sliver of the journey, only a split second of the full journey, okay? And the full journey is the afterlife as well, okay? So you're only here for a sliver of time, okay, for a blink of an eye, okay? So if the enemy would seem to win for a blink of an eye, that's okay, because you know who ultimately wins the final war, which is God. So even though you may not see your victory here on this planet, okay, that doesn't mean that your victory won't take place. It doesn't mean that all of the truth will be made known. It doesn't mean that just because it's not made known here doesn't mean it's not going to be made known. Because we know at Judgment Day, everything's going to be laid out, whether good or bad, all hidden things, everything. All truth is going to be revealed. Okay? Truth about your life, truth about the accusations people put against you, and everything else. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Okay? Shabbat is almost over with. Actually, I think Shabbat's over with now, actually. Because I'm not seeing any sunlight in the windowsill. So that's that one. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Sometime during the day. I don't, well, no, actually I'll see you tomorrow, roughly around the same time, maybe a little sooner, for chapter 26. Okay? So take care, guys. Be blessed, and happy Shabbat, happy ending of Shabbat soon for here. Okay? All right. Take care. Be blessed, guys.